Welcome to You Can Call Me Goddess, because you're so much more than a queen. My name is Manouk Vink. I am a trained intuitive energy healer specialized in transforming your body and your life. In this podcast, we are going to be diving into everything to unlock the goddess that you are within you. Think of it as the ultimate glow up from the inside out. It's time to unlock your power. It's time to unlock your magic. So sit back and enjoy the show. All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to the You Can Call Me Goddess podcast. With me today, we have Jill. Jill is a fellow intuitive and also energetic healer, but she does so much more. We are going to be posting this podcast on both of our platforms. So I'm going to let Jill introduce herself, and then I'll do a little introduction, and we're going to go from there. Hi, Jill.
Okay, awesome. Hi, thanks, Manouk. I'm Jill Alanna. In short, I'm a shamanic prosperity mentor. I help people integrate their shadow to access their full power, potentials, and their soul's purpose. With an array of modalities that I have mixed into my own. That's the best way I can describe what
I know it's so much that we do. And for the people listening on Jill's podcast, my name is, what's your podcast name, by the way, for the people? Don't worry.
I was going to say something. I'm just going to be authentic. We were like chatting about how everything was like stopping us from doing this freaking podcast. And like for me, I like basically lost my voice. Got this morning, like dealing with all the things. And I'm like, and here we are. This is what happens when you're like helping people actually transform and access like their true inner power. Like all the things will try and stop you. Show up anyways. My podcast name. We'll dive into all of that. My podcast name is the Prosperity Portal Podcast, so you can find that on all the platforms.
Yes, I'm going to link everything, and I'm sure Jill is going to link everything in her podcast. So we do a lot of aligned work, just in different ways. So my name is Manouk Vink for the listeners on Jill's podcast. I help women mainly feel more empowered and in control of their body through self-image healing, understanding their body reflections, manifesting their dream body, but as a result of manifesting their dream body and stepping into their power, achieving so much more, like achieving their dream life and walking their soul path, soul pull. There's so much more that goes into that. And also I add in the part of making sure that you are training, eating everything well for the body, anti-aging techniques, all of that jazz. So, but that is just, again, also in a nutshell, everything that I do. You can find all our details in the show notes. In today's podcast, we're just going to let it kind of go. We're just going to see where today's podcast is going to take us. But we wanted to kind of dive into the topic of, how would I say this? Like feminine power, the distorted view on feminine power. Also the toxic feminism out there, negative beliefs about feminine power. And we're going to set the record straight a little bit. We are also going to touch upon a little bit, if you guys have listened. If you have not, I either recommend you dive into a little bit of dark force knowledge, dark energy knowledge. It's all in my portal. I know that Jill has a lot on her podcast about it as well. We're going to dive into all of that. Hence the little comment about how when we try to get people to a higher frequency, there is going to be interference because people don't want us to step into our power. There are many different reasons for that, but we are going to do it anyway. So
yeah. Well, actually, maybe we should start there, just like Cole's notes, because this goes into the feminine. This goes into why we are taught. And if you guys have not been like in my world and you're like, why is she looking down in a weird spot? When I channel, I like zone into a spot.
I do that. I don't even explain people. Like my face goes funny. I looked at myself in a video once and I was like, what am I doing?
I was like teaching in my membership yesterday, like my prosperity portal membership. And then I'm like, some of these people are new to my world. And I should probably like explain that when I'm doing reads or if I'm channeling or like picking up what information needs to come through and channeling like the collective consciousness and like the most important things to say, like I will do what I'm doing right now if you're watching the video.
Yes.
And I'm like, they probably think I'm crazy. Like most people have been in my world for a number of years, but some of them have not. So Okay, so guys, like the whole thing about the feminine energy is the most powerful energy in the world. The
I
feminine was
agree.
taken out of the Bible for a reason. All the places of worship it was taken out of for a reason. They made Mary Magdalene look, quite honestly, like really dark. We'll say dark. Like what's the word? Um, and there's just a lot of distortion with that. This is because the feminine is the oracle. Like we are the intuitives. We are the our wombs are literal portals to other realms. We can get more into this later, but
But to start
the
with the physical realm, right? It's like how you entered the world, literally. So,
exactly.
yeah.
And the most intuitive information actually for a woman lives in our womb. Again, if there's a lot of trauma, we can get into this more later. If there's a lot of trauma, it's going to distort your access to that womb wisdom. So we can pull that from other places. But I do recommend like transmuting that trauma because it's important. I think somatic work personally might be prejudiced is the most
I think
powerful,
it's
but
a
I
combination of so many things. Like reprogramming your limiting beliefs has been life changing for me. And I think a combination of these things like makes a massive difference.
100%. Like, okay, I was talking to Nicole about this because I'm like, for me, the somatic work is like the foundation.
Yeah.
And then you add like reprogramming the beliefs. But the thing is, our beliefs live in our body.
Yeah. They
So
need to be released.
if I have like shame about how I look, for example, that's because there's an imprint there or many imprints. One real life example here. A girl when I was, I think in grade 7 told me everyone else was like, I wasn't aesthetically appeasing. And so that caused like a lot of like, um, body dysmorphia and just like all these things of like thinking I wasn't beautiful, I wasn't good enough, which goes to exactly what you were talking about recently
Mhm.
in your content of like we're programmed to not think we're beautiful, and so there's a multi-billion dollar industry for this. So
And
I can
feeding off of that, literally working off of those beliefs that we have.
exactly, and the wounds under them. So the
Mhm.
wound is the imprint, it's a trauma which is stuck energy. It's
Mhm.
literally emotion that I didn't feel in that moment. Now I've transmuted this specific imprint through somatic work. So you go and alchemize that shame to a higher frequency, such as bliss, um, or self-love, which love actually, because anyways, whatever. The frequency of it. I'm not talking about what people think is like is self-love. I'm talking about the frequency, the actual energetic frequency that can be measured. So if I'm trying to program, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worthy, just through the mind, there's only 15% access of the transformation until you go to the core imprint, which is where the belief sits, and transmute it. Now there's space to reprogram it. And that belief structure actually, now the neural pathways are pruned and they literally just dissolve. That mind matrix is literally dissolved because the imprint is what causes it. So our neurons actually, so say there's like a trigger of I see somebody like similar to that girl, or somebody tells me like you're ugly or whatever. And then the if the trauma is not there, it's like, okay, cool. Thanks
You,
for
you don't care. Yeah. Whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
zero care. But if the trauma is still there, it triggers it. And now the body sends signals to the mind of you're not good enough, you're not pretty, you're not aesthetically appeasing. And so if we just work with the mind and the trauma is still there, it it's like we're trying to put whipped cream on garbage. And so if we go and do the somatic work and the clearing and then that's gone, now we can reprogram a belief that's actually supportive. And we don't have to reprogram it every day. It just becomes who you are. And then you become the living embodiment of like I am beautiful, or I am worthy, or I am wanted, or whatever the belief is. Like we have these in all areas. It's like I'm not wanted, I'm not good enough. They can do it and I can't. Um, they can have access to
So,
money and I
so
can't. They
Jill, when you do that, what kind of like what kind of techniques do you use to do that?
okay. There's a number of them. My
Like a
favorite
basic one that
is
you can share on the podcast.
well, you got it. The thing is, you should do this with a practitioner because it's not safe to do trauma work alone.
Mhm.
Um, so my favorite, and I'm probably prejudiced, is my breath work. It's called Jai breath work. It's a mixture of shamanic breath work, high frequency energy healing, and soul reclamation. So
Mhm.
wherever the trauma is, the aspect of your soul is left there.
Mm-hmm.
So you go alchemize the trauma essentially. Like what I do when I facilitate this is there's a number of things going on. It's not just breath work, and I think breath work's very powerful. And guys, like, please, if you are going to do trauma work, work with somebody who's trauma informed. And that is not a 2-day training. I have worked with so many people that were like, I went to this trauma person, and I'm like, what? And like, they got stuck in a trauma response. And like, I've had to like help them out, because you have to be able to alchemize the trauma. You don't just bring the trauma up, you have to alchemize it. And there's a process
What
for
do you
that.
mean for the people? What do you mean with alchemize?
So, okay. This kind of gets into like womb wisdom and feminine, um,
Which is
the
good.
power of the feminine energy. So the alchemical process is
Mm-hmm.
literally like, people say turning lead into gold. What I'm talking about is the same process, but it's in the body. So there's, do you know about the frequency chart? Like
Yes.
last, I'll go through it. So
Go, yeah,
you'll
because
look,
the listeners won't
I
probably.
literally have it from yesterday somewhere. Okay, hang on. Um, Give me 2 seconds, guys.
No, don't worry. I'll because the thing is what has worked amazingly for me, and I get where you're going with this, Jill, with like just talking, like this is the thing, like affirmations, they don't work. So that is something that
They
just
don't.
does that, they don't work. So if you just constantly say in the mirror, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, it's going to hit the conscious brain. Your conscious brain is going to be like, yeah, right, I don't believe it, because you have trauma, memories of situations like what you explained, Jill, and I've had
This.
situations where, for example, I've had a girl like comment on the fat on my, bra strap and things like that, and it will stick with you. So it will stick with you forever, and it will like be this thing that you're constantly aware of, right, until your 20s, 30s, and you're still looking at this bra fat thing because it hasn't stopped bugging you. So I use a lot of energetic techniques and neural reprogramming techniques to reprogram those thought processes.
Okay.
And
So the
then,
sorry to interrupt, but the
yeah,
energy techniques, that is a part, like the alchemical process is alchemizing energy.
okay. So that's what I'm like, that also for the listeners who don't understand, because I understand that in a different wording, right? So are you saying bringing up the frequency?
Yes. So,
Yeah.
but it's not just I'm going to boost a frequency, because you can only boost a frequency so much. With You have to go and literally feel. Okay, I'll give you a real life example, then I'll go over the chart
Yes.
that I just pulled
Yes.
up. So, about a month ago, maybe, I went through a really big grief portal. Well, let's spin back a few years. I was like, God, source, divine intelligence, I really want to bring more love to my life. There was nothing else I really wanted to manifest at that time. Everything was like going amazing. I had massive quantum leaps in my business, I was in a partnership, whatever. And literally what happened was the grief of when my dog got stolen started to come up, to be
Mm.
processed. Now, when this happened, I was in a false light container, and they told me not to feel. And so that they literally stopped that alchemical process. I didn't realize
So
that until
so
retrospect.
just so false light container, just so that for the people that haven't heard these things, like this is like a place where you have the idea, right, that you're being supported and guided by light, high frequency energy, but you're not.
Yeah.
Correct?
The
Yes.
false teachings. Yes.
Yes.
So, and then a clinical hypnosis teacher, same thing. He turned out to be false light, meaning I mean, there's a lawsuit going on. He's a sexual predator. It's a long story.
I love how
But
we're
he
just
was
getting
like,
into it with
oh,
Jill.
you have like, my story is like literally insane. I was like false light, and I'm like, what is going on, and why are all these sexual predators here? Jill learned the lesson. Finally learned
Oh
it.
my
So, anyways,
Yes.
but I had to go through it to track all
Yeah.
this. So what I
Yeah.
realized was, he said, oh, you don't need to feel it to heal it, blah blah blah. They don't want you going into it and alchemizing the energy, because, and these people told me not to do the somatic work, which is literally where my greatest gifts lie. This is how you integrate the shadow. And wherever your trauma is, are your dormant unique gifts that only you have, are right under where the traumas are, the samskara. Most people avoid them instead of going into them. And so you can only
Mhm.
access your
So
soul's
you
potential if you go into the gifts. And so what
the
I
pain
realized, I was,
points basically, right? Yeah.
yes. But then there's a process of alchemizing them, and you bring high frequency in. so if I'm facilitating a breathwork, for example, like I have a playlist, it's a shamanic playlist. What does this mean? It took me weeks to create. There's a very important rhythm to it where you go deep into the wounds and then it's angelic music, and deep into the wounds and angelic music. Then I'll bridge energy, like high frequency energy, source frequency energy. Some people call it Christ consciousness. Or Mary Magdalene frequency, like 1,000 frequency. It's essentially the frequency of
Yeah.
God, of source.
Yeah.
So we bring that
I
in
use as
because,
well in healings. Yes.
yes. So the wound is the access point. The wound is where the light comes in, Rumi. And so then we bring that in and at the same time do a soul reclamation. So I'll call people soul fragments back to their physical body to integrate that piece back. Now, this process is intense. Deep grief will come up. Well, guess what? Why did grief come up when I was like, I want to embody more love? Grief is the access point to embody more love. Come with the frequency of love. Shame is the access point. I've been doing a lot of like shame clearing, which some of it was conversations that I didn't want to have, that where there was shame in a situation. I have a crazy recent story about that. But a lot of that too is just like moving that energy and alchemizing it to bliss.
It's
right?
like because you can't take it with you, right? Like if you want to access more love, you need to process the grief that you've experienced, basically. In like how do you say, in Dutch we say yip and Janneke, like in baby in toddler language.
Yeah. So our like energy can't be destroyed. It can only shift forms.
Yes.
So if the grief is sitting there and it's layers, so what trauma is, it's filaments, it's layers of energy, and the more we don't feel it, it becomes like a bigger and bigger snowball until eventually we explode.
Yeah.
Most people go into numbing, drugs, alcohol, over sexualization,
or it starts manifesting in the body into illness, cancer, all of this shit, basically.
The last place it will be in a physical manifestation, exactly. Like cancer, for example, a tumor. The tumor is literally where the energy field, so where the energy field is distorted, the energy field is the blueprint that creates the holograph of our physical body. So wherever the energy field is distorted, meaning there was what distorts the field, trauma in the physical body will distort the energy field, because there's an aspect of the soul in that trauma, like from that, there's an aspect of the soul that's literally left through time and space in that event. So like when I was in elementary, that thing had trauma. This happens with money too. When I was 13, my dad called me a spoiled little brat. All of a sudden, deep scarcity, lived off rice and beans for a while, lived in solariums, lived in the ghetto of New York, like deep scarcity, even though I grew up in like a pretty well-off family.
Yeah.
And my brothers did well. But for me, I'm like, I'm evil if, until I went, it
like
wasn't just the knowledge.
Also shamed of being spoiled, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Shame. And so what happened was I discovered about like abundance codes, money codes, wealth codes. And I'm like, cool. And then I got some knowledge of it. Nothing shifted until I actually, a little bit shifted. That's a lie. Some shifted, reprogramming the mind. Money's here to support me. I'm abundant. Okay, cool. But where did the big quantum leaps happen? Well, one of them was when that memory popped up and my body had convulsed and like was sweating and released it. And I went through like an alchemical process. I shifted that energy into peace. I think that was energetic. And now there's different ways of doing this. Like say I'm working privately with a client, there's a process that I can do one-on-one that I can't do in like a group setting. So I'll go and find the core imprint and the entanglements and the thought processes, and it's still the somatic work. Like they'll cry or sometimes they'll laugh. The energy just needs to move.
It needs to release. Yes.
Well, kind of. It can't actually release. It needs to. It needs to shift forms, because like we said, energy can't destroy. But yes, that the filaments need to release and the energy needs to literally alchemize into a higher frequency. Now our thought process is, say, okay, lust is the lowest frequency, then it's pain, victimization, suffering, shame, guilt, fear. These go up. Anger, control, power, will, gratitude, appreciation, joy, love, freedom, bliss. Okay, say I transmute guilt into appreciation. I
Yeah.
feel guilty for receiving. Now I feel appreciated when I receive. And I also appreciate who my friend bought me a croissant this morning. It was so sweet. And
Yeah.
coffee.
So
It was
nice.
a surprise. And I was like, oh my God, you're so sweet. She was staying with me
We
for a
have
couple
to
days.
recognize those moments. Those are the best.
Yeah.
Yes, like
In
I
the
manifested these earrings from a friend, literally. Like she
yes.
came over and she just gave them to me, and I
I
wanted
love it.
something like this. I was
Yes.
thinking about it the
Yes.
same day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and we should probably get back to feminine energetics in a second, but this is why, because this is where the feminine power actually lies, is in the alchemy. Um, so, so now I appreciate that, and what we appreciates, and I feel appreciated. Okay, in the past, if somebody bought me coffee and a croissant, I would have felt guilty. Who might have received? Blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
I love
Because
that. Yes, that I like that different 100. Okay, yes.
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 So
Yeah.
in the past, I could have been like, let me reprogram my thoughts to be grateful. But my body's like, I don't feel grateful. It's contracted. Now my body's like open, like I actually feel grateful. This is also how the feminine receives from the masculine. Most
Uh-huh.
women
100%. It's
are
yeah.
like, I can't receive from the masculine. I owe them something. I
I
owe
need
them
to
my
give. Oh,
I need
yes.
to give, or
Love
I
this,
owe them my
Jill.
body
Yes.
if they buy me dinner. No, you don't.
Yes.
First thing inside the contract.
Yes.
Secondly, all of that is like from trauma and programming. So
Yeah.
we can shift this with the mind, absolutely. But the neurons in the body send the signal to the mind. If my frequency um is in power, for example, my thoughts are going to be very powerful in that way. They're going to be like, I can do this, I got this, God has me, source has me, um versus like shame. Okay, so, and this is fluid. This isn't like you're always living in shame. There's different things that will trigger that shame, and then
I also
that's
think it's like how intense like how deep is the trauma, right? I think that makes a big
yes,
difference as well, for sure. Because
the
I've reprogrammed things without doing this, and just by just literally reprogramming with proof and emotional connection,
yes.
right? Yeah.
So like the law of focus, yes, and emotional
Yeah.
connection. But Manu, the reason some people can't, and it, different aspects of our life are different, right? Like I've been working through so many layers of trauma with the masculine
Yeah.
that I didn't even realize. Like I've been doing this work a long time, but it's a
Mhm.
whole other level. Now I've worked through a lot of my trauma with money. Is there more? Probably, but I'm so
Yeah.
neutral. I can invest 30 grand in a month and be like, I'm going to make it back and prove to myself I'm going to make it back. But like me, a few years ago, I couldn't do that because there was so much trauma. I would avoid my
Mhm.
bank account. Well, money's a being; it doesn't like being avoided. It's like a partner. Like
An
if you did
energy,
that to,
exactly.
yeah, the partner would be like, I don't know if this is working out. Every time I want to be with you,
I
you ignore me. Like
I've
money's
heard
like,
that before, like if you're holding it hostage, imagine if that's like your partner, would you hold him on and only check on it once in a while? Like in the
right?
basement, like, hey,
Literally.
are you still good? Okay, cool. That's
And money's energy too. It needs to move. So,
yeah.
but here's the thing, I can do that now because I've alchemized a lot of deep trauma. I've gone through a lot of like, because it's never actually about money, it's about something so much deeper. It's
Yeah,
about what we make
always.
it mean.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
I've had to sit with a lot of grief, a lot of fear. There's always something deeper than fear, grief, sadness, and like literally will use my breath work. I do my own replays or other modalities. The breath work is just my favorite because it goes the deepest. Once you get these deep core imprints, the reprogramming is easy because your frequency is already at a higher one. Like it's like gratitude's the highest form of receivership. So say I want
Yeah.
to receive more money. We'll just take money, for example, or intimacy, whatever it is, we'll take money. Then I'm already embodying that frequency. So now my thoughts are already equal to that
To
energy.
that.
They're
Yeah.
automatically. And now I can easily reprogram a belief that's in alignment with that and prove it to myself. Boom. But this is what stops most people when they're like, I'm doing all the things, I'm doing the reprogramming. And I'm like, yes, but there's a core imprint, there's a deep imprint, a trauma that has a matrix in your mind, a bunch of neural pathways. Sorry, I'm such a neuroscience nerd. I studied it for a long time. So if
No,
you
I
heard
love
about it,
it.
hopefully this is making sense.
It used to be
So,
my favorite subject. I studied
oh,
psychology before,
I,
and it was my
me too.
favorite.
It's like
Mm-mm.
fascinating. So those
Yeah.
thoughts are now equal to that. So somebody who's living in shame, the thought patterns with shame will be, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I can't receive. I'm bad. Something's fundamentally wrong with me. No, like so these thoughts are a byproduct of somebody vibrating primarily at the frequency of shame.
Mhm.
And so when we alchemize this, I'll give you guys a tool that you can do by yourself. Go to a store and ask a stranger to buy you something that is $10 or more that you actually want. Don't tell them why. You will alchemize trauma in your physical body. It won't be as deep as like a somatic session, but you'll alchemize trauma in your physical body that will liberate energy. I had to do this at a conference and I was like, absolutely not. I have a whole podcast on it called Two Profound Soul Lessons, something, something. I talk about it. And literally, I asked these dudes for a salad. It was like in Austin. They were at a bachelorette. Because I was like, not going to go ask the person that'd be easy to ask a woman. So I'm like, I'm going to go ask dudes because I have this thing that if I receive from a dude, I've cleared this, but that I have to now give them my body or I have to give them attention.
Yeah.
And this shifted everything. Firstly, they're like, well, if you take a shot, I'm like, I can't take a shot. Why not? I can't tell you. Like, it was like a whole conversation. My body was like
Yeah,
we carry
shaking.
shame in our womb. Our lower abdomen is where shame is. It's the second chakra. It was literally reverberating. And I was like, oh my God, I was alchemizing trauma in real time. And I just allowed it to move through my body. And there's like a circuitry practice that you can like move it through. So I was like doing that as I was speaking to them as best as I could, using the power of my breath. And finally, one dude like bought me the salad. And then I ended up talking to him for way longer than I wanted to, which was another pattern that I saw. Anyways, the next day, my friend decided to buy me lunch. Somebody decided to buy me dinner. The barista just gave me a free coffee. Someone else was getting a pet gum. Oh, just put it to my bill. Like, I was like, whoa, because the energy liberated. And now I was like, okay, there's things that moved for me to now feel safe receiving. And that I don't have to.
Yeah. I get, yeah, 100%. I think
So,
like even in real time, I've had experiences like this without the real somatic work of it, but like releasing that by, for
yeah,
example, my my partner now who I started dating, in the
yeah,
beginning, I was so like scarcity mode that he would say he would buy dinner and then we would go for lunch and I would panic. I would immediately be like, no, but we don't have to go out for lunch and dinner. We can like, I'll cook for, because I felt like I needed to compensate, right? And by him just doing it over and over and literally saying to me, you need to stop because like I'm doing this, it's fine. And getting myself to the point of being okay with receiving, obviously also doing a lot of work on that. Like
mm-hmm,
it took a
yeah,
while. I guess this would be like a quicker way of doing that. But now I'm okay receiving things. Like I used to feel indebted, but
yeah,
also with also fair exchange tools, that has
yeah,
shifted a
yeah,
lot for me. With seeing the fair exchange immediately, that has
yeah,
helped me a lot. But yeah, it does, it shifts things, like that would have shifted things
yeah.
immediately, and then you start seeing it more, and you know
Uh,
you become more of a magnet.
100%. And that's it. Like, firstly, Manuk, like men fall in love by giving. They don't fall in love by receiving. This
Well,
is the
that's
power of the
our whole
feminine.
relationship, right? Like if you think about it.
E- Like feminine and masculine.
Yeah, like giving and receiving.
Well, exactly. And so you're
Yeah.
giving your energy to him. It's
Yeah.
like the egg and the sperm. Like women are the egg.
Yeah.
This is why the sperm is like the penetrative energy. It is the giving, it is the pursuing, and we are the magnetism. So when a
Yeah.
man is with a woman, and most people don't understand this, that man, like we're just talking a lot about money, but whatever, it's favorite topic of mine. He's gonna make way more money in a conscious, high frequency relationship because of her energy.
Yeah.
Every dude I've ever been with has like 10x financially when that relationship,
I love
but
you're just
it's not just me. This is like
date
literally
Jill, make more money.
only my true beloved. I mean, you could date me, but I'm yeah. But with that energy exchange, especially if you're intimate with them,
Hmm.
they now have the feminine energy, and the higher. This is with all women though. It's just like the more a woman starts to alchemize her energy and comes back to her purity and understands the power of, like, most women and men, they're just giving away their sexual energy. I think we should actually talk about this.
I
And
wanted to. It's
zero
been popping
judgment.
up the whole time. Yeah, it's
Okay,
been.
zero judgment.
Yeah.
But that is your most valuable resource. Like, you can create miracles with that. This is how I healed my eye from almost going blind. This is how I create my life. This is how I can literally be like, I want to manifest however much this month for XYZ. You need energy buckets to pull in the money, but for this, God's telling me to do this. Let's use this energy. Let's create, let's cultivate. But if you're just depleted, if you're just giving away your, well, any type of energy, but specifically the sexual energy, and again, zero
Mhm.
judgment, you won't
Yes,
have
there,
the life
but
force to create.
it's more also like why are you doing it, right? Like that's a big question.
Well,
Is it because you really truly want to connect with that person and have that experience and have that energetic exchange, or is it because you want some validation,
well, that's it. And also, like,
you know?
here's the thing. Most people are doing it for validation when it's coming from a wound and it's unconscious. But some people are like,
Yeah.
I want that
And
exchange, and I've had this, but it still has repercussions. I
mhm.
tracked this. There was a man that I was seeing. We had an amazing connection. There was so much alignment. It wasn't fully in alignment though. We knew that. It was about like a couple weeks, and I was like, I have to end this, because my manifestation, my creation powers were just getting drained because it wasn't building. That energy is meant to build, and I'm not judging anybody. I'm just sharing this so you guys can understand. I've spent a lot of time, energy, money with a mentor, like tracking this stuff and realizing, okay, like, I get it. That connection is really beautiful, but you're still, if it's and there's nothing wrong with it, but you're depleting your power and your ability to actually create what your soul wants. In a conscious relationship, what will happen in that conscious exchange is the energy will build, it'll amplify, it won't be drained. And this goes
Yeah.
back to the wounds and what we were talking about. What do you want to talk about? Manipulative, what was it I wrote down?
Like
Toxic feminine energy. So
toxic,
the
yeah.
toxic feminine energy comes, what will happen is like entities, can I say that word, will work
Yeah.
through the wounds of, for example, a woman. We'll talk about how this works with a man. A woman,
Yeah.
now her body is like, she turns into a manipulative seductress. I have been this woman. I have been this woman.
And
And
there is a lot, like literally the other day I saw a video, like an example of this. A woman who was literally faking her pregnant. Have you watched The Bachelor? Have you watched ever? No. So there's I hadn't watched this because I don't know if I can get it here anyways, but I know the show and I saw another show with him in it. But
mhm,
this woman was like manipulating him into paying child support for an unborn baby, and she
this,
was pretending to be pregnant by bloating her, like taking these bloating
oh my
drugs to
God,
bloat her. Like, what the fuck, right? Like,
this is it. And
that is
and this comes
insane.
back. So why does this happen? Like, that's bonkers to me, but I don't doubt it
Yeah.
because I've had male friends
No,
tell me,
there's
and also
crazy
my own.
bitches out there. Like, seriously. Like,
So, like, when I was, and I didn't do any of that stuff, but when I was
no,
like
no, I'm not
manipulated,
saying
okay,
that.
and
No.
with like, it was a wound drawing it until this point where I was in
Mhm.
a relationship and I was like, saw what it got me entangled in, and I was like,
Yeah.
I am devoted to love, to union, and this person, I am not available for thwarted energy, manipulation, and distortion, and my whole energy field changed. That started to crumble, that relationship that was birthed on trauma instead of actual union, because in actual union you have to be in union with yourself, divine masculine feminine,
Yes.
with
That's
God.
what I wanted to also say about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
with God, source. And
Hmm.
then I have a course on this. It's not open, but it's called Serenity to Sacred Union with Source. Based on my story, it was supposed to be Sacred Union course. And then I went through a breakup the day before I was supposed to launch it. And I was like, oh, I was supposed to do the masterclass this a few years ago. And I was like, oh my God, God literally wouldn't let me launch that course. And I was like, until like I actually understood the stuff about manipulation. And like, it was a purification journey, like literally purified all these aspects of me trying to manipulate the field, trying to siphon basically the attention of men, because
Hmm.
I didn't feel safe in my body. And what if
Hmm.
one fell through and I need to have backup options? It comes from trauma. And so I had to go to the
Hmm.
core imprint and heal that trauma. Otherwise, the behavior still goes. And this is the integration of the shadow. I also had to look at why, like, how was I a match to that relationship? And this is the work that most people aren't willing to do, but it is the most powerful work. And so what happens is these women, and we'll talk about how this works with men, because they're programmed, they forget their innate power. They are
Yes,
thinking that they need to rely on a
100%.
man, but they
Yeah.
can't rely on a man,
No.
and they can't receive without this sexual exchange or something. And it's just like really distorted. There's so many distortions. She has to adapt something that is going to make her feel these coping mechanisms to make her feel safe. So then
Mm-hmm.
she has like all these men, and I'm not talking about rotational dating. If you guys know what that is, that's very different. I'm talking about intentional manipulation here. And so now an entity called succubus energy will start to work through her, and she'll start to try and siphon the energy of the masculine if she's intimate with them. Now, when I was this person, I wasn't intimate with all the men. um that my soul was like, just do not cross that line.
Thank
And it
goodness.
gets,
Right? It's good.
pardon.
It's good that your soul helped you out there.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. Because what happens is that now she will be intimate with a man, and then that man will start to pull, and then she'll be intimate with another one, and it's like all these pulls, and like these are the women that are so ungrounded. They have no connection to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They can't tap into their innate wisdom. They
Mm-hmm.
can't tap
Yeah.
into their womb wisdom. Their intuition's like foggy. They're confused. They're ungrounded, and again, I'm not judging any of this. I've worked with a lot of these women.
No,
I've
but
gone
it's
through my
not
own
about
journey.
judgment.
So
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's not about
it's
judgment. It's about what you just didn't know. You didn't have the right tools. You didn't have an
yes,
understanding of what's going on.
exactly.
That's what happens in these situations, and that's also why I'm feeling called. I really, this is one of my missions, is to get women to realize that they can create everything that they desire on their own. They don't, and that doesn't mean you don't get a partner. You do, but you get it through first realizing that you have it all.
It's that
So
wholeness
it's
within
that you have the
and within
power
source.
to literally transform your current relationship into your dream relationship, and the other
100%.
person doesn't need to do anything. All you have to do is shift yourself.
Because
That's
yeah,
what we need to start understanding. That,
well,
yeah.
okay, there's nuances to this. Yes, because they're a mirror to us. If we shift, they shift. But
Yeah, of
if
course
we
there's
shift,
nuances with different type of like it in the grand scheme, majority of the time, if you're in like a like just in kind of a shitty relationship, but it's not like how do you say, like very like life death type situation, then you can shift
yeah,
it, right? So you have the
yeah.
power to change everything on your own. But
So
even then, you
yes,
can still change it
but
on your own with the
here's the
right
thing.
tools.
Here's the thing. If that person, like, you might become a match to not have that relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, I was dating somebody who had, I found out, borderline personality disorder,
Yeah.
narcissist. Like, this is like, I'm not just being, he's a narcissist. No, no, no. Like, basically clinically diagnosed. He's like, yeah, it was a shit show. I haven't even got to that part of my story on my
Yeah,
podcast,
but
but
with those
so
situations, then in that situation, Jill, you will create you will eventually grow enough to get out of that, right?
exactly.
And
So
then
it
attract
evolved.
what you need. Yes.
Exactly. And it
Yeah.
shifted. Like the men that come into my field now shifted. I even went through
Yes.
something like like a month and a bit ago. And whoa, I saw a lot. And I had to shift something deep inside me, a trauma from, and it was a cosmic joke because these people had the same name with the person that from my childhood. You can't make this shit up. And it was two people actually from my childhood, and he had the quirks, like mannerisms of one of them, and then the name of another. And as soon as I saw that, cleared that, shifted that, my energy shifted. It was so hard for me to walk away from that situation until I went in to the alchemical process. There was a lot of deep grief and there was deep shame, and I had to shift that energy. And once I did, I was like, I don't feel that pull to him, because that pull is like the trauma pulling.
Yeah.
Plus there was like a bunch of hooks in my womb from
Hmm.
incubus energy, which is the
Hmm.
male equivalent of the succubus. So if you're feeling like this person's really bad for me, but I'm so pulled to them,
Yeah, but that's an energetic cord that, or a hook that you need to remove. That's, yeah.
yes,
Yes.
you need to
That's
remove
different.
that.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
well, it's not different. It's the same because it hooks into the trauma. When the
Yeah, no,
trauma
but
is,
I'm saying that's different than if now I'm in a relationship that I need to improve, right? Well, you still have that, but do you see what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like that's a different scenario, basically, than if you're being led back to a toxic situation, thinking that you're being led back because it's a sign that you need to be together,
yeah.
but in actual
But
fact, it's not.
sometimes we're in these situations and we don't see them as toxic. Like that whole situation now, I can see it as toxic, but in it, it didn't seem toxic. It was like
Yeah.
a lot of it was amazing, but it there were pieces where it was like, okay, now my energy is getting depleted and I'm seeing this cost. I'm very in tune, and I track this stuff. Like I'm very in tune with my energy, where it is when things are working in my life, when things are stagnant. And so I see, like, but if I wasn't this, I could have been like, oh, this whole situation's amazing. Yet it was still, and then the trauma happened, I went and I tracked what the soul lesson was, and the soul lesson was connected to that imprint. So I had to shift the imprint, embody the soul lesson, end it, cut it, call out what was happening, have a conversation with somebody from my past when I was very young, where there was a lot of shame. And so there's some like the I'm not talking about, oh sorry, okay, there's two situations you're talking about. This is like the more recent one. The one with my ex a few years back was very, again, it was, now looking at it, was very toxic. It was actually very emotionally abusive. um
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't know that in it, you know what I mean, like
No,
because
but that's yeah, of course, when you're in it, it's so much harder to see these things,
because
right?
yeah, because you
Yeah.
love them, they love
Yeah.
you, love isn't
Yeah.
enough, guys. Yet these energies are still working through. And so that these intense pulls are okay. So like we're, we're going in so many directions right now. These intense pulls are like trauma bonds essentially, but
Yeah.
there's other energies at play. It's not just, oh, they're triggering my trauma and pulled to them. What happens is succubus energy, which siphons the masculine. It's the feminine energy siphoning the masculine. It's another entity that's working through somebody's wound. And
Mm-hmm.
the incubus is the masculine siphoning the feminine, which is what just happened like recently, not to the same extent. And it happened like a few years back with my ex so intensely. I looked dead. I literally looked like a corpse. People were like, are you okay? Like I if you look at pictures, it is insane after I cleared them.
Yeah,
But
that's
clearing them's not enough, because what happens is they'll come back or you'll manifest the same thing. If you don't shift the imprint, you will literally
yeah.
manifest that same
And it's
energy in another
also
man.
the reflective component of that, right? Of what's going on there. So there's like a lot of layers to things like this happening.
100%. I mean, it's
Yeah.
all a reflection, but
Yeah,
there's so
everything.
many layers and nuances. And
Yeah.
if you just clear these like quote entities or hooks, the,
Energies doesn't
it's
doesn't shift it for good
well,
unless you deal with the actual
yes, because
reflection,
that
basically.
person, and the reflection's a byproduct of the trauma. So where the soul aspect is
Yeah.
missing, or a piece of the light body, some people say it's actually a soul aspect,
Yeah.
but a soul fragment, I should say, where that's missing, there's a hole in your field.
Mhm.
That's the access point, and that's where the trauma is. And so clearing them, yes. And then you go to the imprint if you want true liberation, and you transmute it, and now it has no place to hook, and now you're not drawn to that super toxic relationship or that person that you know you're not building a life with, and you're like, this person is now, take this with a grain of salt, because every relationship there's a lot of soul lessons.
Oh, yeah.
And
100%.
I have learned so much, like it is so much through these
And it
mirrors.
will be a continuous growth journey in every relationship.
Exactly. And
So,
then there'll be one soul if you align to manifesting them, or them manifesting
or if
you in this
they're even
lifetime,
here.
or if they're,
Yeah.
I have my own beliefs on that. I think we all have one that is here. Like, yeah. Anyways, that's my own belief. But
Your
that you
own
choose to do
perspective
these,
on it.
my own perspective, what I've channeled, what through my journey. But yeah, where that will dance this dance longer, and they will have the biggest medicine for you, and it will be very triggering. But that's again where your power is, under the trigger. So instead of just avoiding the trigger,
Mhm.
you go into it, you alchemize it. Um and I mean, like, I'm just like thinking back of that whole thing a couple years ago, and like that relationship, we got it to, there's like a thing where you should not leave a relationship till it's the best place, so you don't have to repeat the soul
Yeah.
lessons, and it
Yeah.
was at the best place
Yes.
that it could ever be. And then I didn't really know all the truth of what had happened until after,
After.
until I started unraveling everything.
Yeah.
Um but it was also like the best thing that could have happened because like to me, because wow, did I learn a lot and such a
Can
deep,
we actually touch upon that really quick?
yeah,
Because I think that's important for my listeners for sure, and probably yours too. Everybody, maybe a
yeah,
refresher if you've heard it before.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That it is extremely important. People fail to understand this. This is something actually that I spoke about with a friend yesterday, where we're very quick to leave a relationship and then
Yeah.
think that someone else is going to do like be better. But if you
Yeah.
haven't dealt with your own traumas, your own
Mm-hmm.
reflections, your own creator field shit, right? And that's not fixed yet, then
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have the same shit in a different relationship. So
Yeah.
if that is why it is the best thing to, before you leave a relationship, of course, disclaimer, unless you're in danger or in a situation that is extremely abusive and you need to get out, because that's a different story. But if you're
Yeah.
in a relationship and you're unhappy, that's what I'm saying, that you have the power to shift everything without the other person having to shift. You can do that.
For those of you guys who are ready for more and you want to move at a faster pace, this podcast is absolutely fantastic to get you moving. However, if you want to speed up the process and if you are ready to fast track your success and unlock new levels of yourself because you have deadlines and you want to expand your life immediately, you don't want to wait any longer than you need to, then sign up for the newsletter. In the newsletter, you will get access to our free live events. They are absolutely free. We will be diving into topics. You can join and ask your questions live there and get free intuitive input on situations that you might be stuck in. Get the understandings that you need to upgrade and up-level, supercharge your life immediately at a much faster pace than through just listening to these podcasts. So if you're ready to unlock new levels of yourself immediately, then click the link below inside the show notes where you will be redirected to the newsletter so that you can access our free live events now. I look so forward to seeing you in there and interacting there with you live. It is just a different energy, and I can't wait to see your beautiful faces.
You want to get that relationship to the best possible point, because then
Mm-hmm.
you have worked through these blocks and traumas and things like that, so that you don't have to deal with them in the next relationship, or they don't have to take a
Yeah.
more extreme form in the
Yeah.
next relationship. So
Yes.
yeah, would you add anything on to that?
Yeah, because yeah, exactly. Like if you don't deal with that, how soul lessons work, how everything's a mirror. And
Yeah.
relationships are the deepest mirror.
Yeah.
Finances are a mirror, health is a mirror, relationships.
Body,
Okay, so body, all of it.
all of it.
And so if you, well, in my personal experience, I had been a magnet to a certain, I'm just going to share vulnerably here. So I'll share two. I realized years ago that I was a magnet to men that were, actually, I don't want to share that. I don't want to share it. But it was the same thing over and over and over again, but it got progressively worse and
Mhm.
progressively undeceptive, more deceptive until I realized, Jill, you were a magnet to this. And I
Yeah.
had to go do the deepest work to shift my energy because it will get worse and worse and worse. Now, more recently, I had this thing with men where there was like this secrecy. It was like see it wasn't like, oh, like we're dating. It was like very secret. And I'm like,
Yeah, or like yeah. Like I had that with ghosting, or like they were always like not direct with what they wanted. You know, that
yes.
type of stuff. Yeah.
So this is a reflection of what's going on in our energy field. And so
Yeah.
what I realized with that, because I'm like, this has happened. It wasn't with everyone I dated, but I'm like, okay, this is another reflection. There's something my soul is trying to tell me here. So I found an imprint from when I was a child, and there was experiences with like very like four with some men, and one of them like had the same name, and then they would like have me touch them as a child, and then they would pretend like nothing happened, and it was
Yeah.
very like secretive and also like inappropriate. And so
Mhm.
I thought, like, I learned in those moments, I had an imprint of literally magnetizing that exact energy because my soul wants me to be liberated from that
From this.
pattern. And
Yeah.
so I didn't really care for a number of the people until this more recent one where it really brought a lot up. And it like, even my womb cycle, like, it was like early 2 months in a row. It was 2.5 weeks early once. And I was like, okay, there's something here that my womb is like telling me. And I wasn't even, like I didn't, how do I say this? Like politically correct. I didn't sleep with this guy. I'm just gonna say it. But there was like other things of
Yeah.
intimacy. So I was sharing that energy. And that was even enough. If you're intimate with it, like the reflections will be bigger because your soul
Yeah.
will be like, this is in alignment or this is not in alignment. What's the lesson? And so my whole body, it was like my womb, our cycles purge energy. So it was like trying to purge this energy. Anyways, there was like some deception here too. Not a lot, but I found out pretty quickly.
Yeah,
What
I've
was
had
most
this
intuitive.
with a friend also telling me like and like when you're with someone you're not meant to be with, you get like symptoms and things like that down
Yes,
there.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes,
it will tell you
yes.
literally.
100%.
Yeah.
So listen to that. It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, what's wrong with me? It's
Not
like your
just
body is communicating.
yeah, your body's like
Um,
I don't like this.
Yeah, I have a masterclass, a free masterclass on this end of November. It's called Soul Speaks. Heal from the
Mhm.
soul. How our physical symptoms aren't an issue. They're literally a communication of our body. And for so long, I was like, "Oh, my body's working against me. I struggled with chronic
Yeah.
illness.
I
Oh,
have the
like
whole that's my whole
my
program, Your Body's Magic. I talk about
oh my
decoding
God.
the entire body.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
because the same thing with finances. It's just a
Yeah.
mirror. It's like showing you where there's a portal to your next level, to your
Yeah.
potentials. But we're like, oh, this thing. And it's like, that's the
We
portal. It's
block
the
it. We like try to do everything to treat the
it's
symptom, not the cause. Yeah.
yes, and it's working
Yeah.
exactly. Numb it, all the things. It's working with us. Our bodies are they're the innate wisdom so that we can achieve our soul path. So, anyways, that had repeated, and like once I shifted that, like my whole field shifted, and like the shame aspect shifted, and like I'm not in a relationship right now, but like I'm dating a bit, and it's not been any aspect of like I'm gonna hide you, like so this is how we shift these patterns. Same thing years ago. I was
But
in a
that's why
physical.
it's kind of sorry to cut you off, but
That's fine.
just real quick to add in there, that's why it's actually really beautiful, even though at the moment you think it's shit, that these things come up because they're literally showing you exactly
Yes.
what you need to shift so that you can take it to the next level.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
just
I'm
wanted to add that in there. Yeah, because it's like if
so
you can start
important.
seeing being grateful for those scenarios and see the beauty in the obstacle, that's when you start acing the game, basically.
Yes, a hundred
Yeah.
percent. I always say turn the worst situation into the best. Like I'm so
Mhm.
grateful this happened. I am
Yeah.
like no, like truly, genuinely. People might think I'm crazy, and I'm not emotional about it anymore because I processed that. But it feels shitty sometimes when you're like these deeper traumas are coming up. But that's the key to your liberation. That's the key
Yeah.
to your potential, to your power, to your soul's dream life. And
Yeah.
so I'm so grateful for this person. Do they have access to me in my life anymore? Like not in close proximity, like whatever, we're chill, we're fine. But like they don't get that close proximity access. However, like I'm so grateful for them. I'm even grateful for the most messed up situation with my ex where I literally had a near death experience and he didn't even care, and he was like part of like why it happened, and like you know what I mean. But for what I learned, I'm so grateful for his soul. Like I still love his soul so much.
Yeah, because
Just
that's a whole nother topic that we can go into because his
the ones
soul
who hurt us the
chose
most love us the most.
yeah,
We're going in there.
his soul chose that to help you, which I
Oh
know a lot
yeah,
some people are gonna reject, but the more triggered you are, the more you gotta look into that because that's there's a piece of growth there for sure.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So um okay, so the whole feminine masculine distortion, it's all inverted. They tried to turn women into men and men into women, and the reason is because the people, the powers that be, quote, if everyone knew how powerful they were. I had a
How
vision,
scary is that for them?
so
That is
scary. I had a
fucking
vision this
scary.
morning, and it was like all these people waking up to the power, and like because I saw some people like smoking weed when I was getting a coffee, and I was like, they just look so depressed, and I'm like, dang, and like my soul was like, oh, if they just knew they could liberate themselves,
Yes, I
and
feel
like,
that way when I see people. Sometimes I'm like,
right,
I can just do this. And then,
I know, and then I'm like, Jill, don't save, just.
yeah.
And then I just like saw this vision of them getting liberated and expansive, and I was like,
That's what I
whoa,
see when I look at like women struggling, especially because self-image, all of that shit, self-love. Like if you could just see your own power and unlock that and see that and see that you hold all the power, like
I just see like literally like your light body almost like elevating and like light
Yes.
everywhere. And I'm like, yes, that's what we need. That's what we
Yes.
need right now.
Yes. And so they want people docile and numb and in the system, whether it's
Oh,
a
and it's
financial system, working a job
everywhere.
that you hate, that the whole financial system is a system of enslavement unless you understand the
School
matrix and you
system
survive
is.
the
The
matrix.
school system is a prison system. Like,
And it's not even about money because they created money. They took
no,
our
it's
natural
something
world
else.
and then they try and sell us back to it. It's about energy and attention siphoning. So if people understand the power of their energy and that's the most valuable resource, what happens is the puppet strings, the people at the top that don't want to actually do their
They
work.
lose the connection.
Exactly. So they do it for power and ego and control. They lose power, and each person that gets liberated is like, dang, like they lost the power over that person. And this is exactly why when we're talking about the tech issues at the beginning, or like the fact that
Mhm.
I was like sick AF last night and woke up and I was like, I don't know if I can do this podcast. And I'm like, Jill, get up and do this podcast. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or like
I
the stuff you were
totally
dealing with. This is
Yes.
why I've recorded like 3 podcasts before where like when the sound didn't work, it was on radical truth. It was 3 hours.
And then it starts distorting when you're about to say
Oh my
it, and then
God.
you're just like,
Or that.
what?
And
Like,
like one's telling my story where the internet just snaps out. I have like the highest
yeah.
quality internet. Like that, what? And like even when I was tracking, like when I was figuring out what was like in those like false like teachings, which basically are teachings that most of it's true, but then there's this infiltration, and those small things that are false truths are actually what keep you imprisoned.
So, yeah, I want to quickly touch upon that real quick. I know we've been talking for a long
Yeah.
time already, but just quickly for people that are listening to this, and I know Jill has been through a great deal of shit situations with that to learn about it, obviously. This is, I think my higher self has protected me, like literally protected me, because I know one of them that has the name had surrounded a lot, but for some reason I never ended up going in and learning about this teacher.
The
Thank
big
God.
meditation guru.
I think the one that you know really well, Joe.
Oh,
Yes, I know.
Joe. There's many. That wasn't the
Yeah,
darkest one, but that one
yeah.
was the
So,
one.
but like just to say,
Yeah.
one
Oh
of the
God.
like one of the things that you can look out for if you're gonna work with someone who does energy work,
Yeah.
because it's a lot of it is tainted, right? Unfortunately, a lot of these things, and one of the main, you're like a lot, like either you have a higher self who will immediately like let you know, or you need to learn about it, like Jill
Yeah.
needed to learn about it, teach you guys. But
Yes.
one of the main things that you can already pay attention to is if you become dependent on them.
Yes.
If they make you dependent, or they don't give
Manuk,
you the
you literally
tools
just
to do it
froze.
yourself, that's when you start asking questions. Jill just froze. Hello? Yeah, this is exactly what I mean. Are you still there, Jill? Literally what we were talking about. Okay, we're gonna see if she comes back. But yeah, are you there? You see? Literally
You see?
this.
I'm like, there you go. There you go. Let me just cover this. I'm just gonna...
Yeah. I was literally like, Jill, are you there? This is what's happening. So,
You're
anyways.
like, if you're dependent on them, that's a red flag. Say all yours, and then I'll fill in.
I already said mine recorded. So I was going to go into you. So when you're
okay.
dependent, if they don't give you the tools, if you feel like the only way that you can access your power is through them, they're red flags. And this is with any coaching, by the way. Doesn't mean they're dark with everyone, but it means that they don't have your best interest at heart, and they probably just want to profit off of you. When it is about like a different like financial energetic exchange and bringing you to a higher frequency, your coach, your teacher should give you the tools. They shouldn't gatekeep anything. They will give you what you need to achieve higher frequencies. And you won't need to be dependent on them. You will be able to unlock that power within yourself, like what me and Jill teach. We teach you how to unlock it yourself. If Jill wants to add on, because she's had more experience, around
So
it.
this is the thing, like, if we're talking about DJ Dude, like, or even like the darker thing I was involved in, like, I didn't think I was dependent on them because they actually talk about, well, no, the other one doesn't talk
Yeah,
about it.
that's
But DJ's
yeah.
like, oh, don't be dependent on me, blah blah blah. But the thing is, like, with his meditations and whatnot, what happened to me is I started attracting a very specific type of man. He has a lot of the dark sexual stuff working through his meditations. Like, I started attracting sex addicts, so that was the other thing I didn't want to talk about before. And I was like, I'm obviously like the issue, like something within me is
Is
attracting that. And
attracting it.
what it was, yeah, is it was basically these other energies hooking into my wounds. And then his meditations have things encoded. I literally saw demons the first time I was at his retreat. But I didn't, my third eye blasted wide open. I didn't know, I didn't have any guidance. And so, but all of this, like, really bad stuff started to happen, but I never connected the dots. Like, my dog got stolen after a retreat. So, like, pay attention to this stuff. Like, even
Yeah.
the reason I can't be friends with my ex from a few years ago, even though, like, I like him as a human, do I agree with some of this stuff? No, but like, we had a friendship for years, is because when I got in contact with him again several months after we broke up, well, we were in contact and then we had a pause, and then I contacted him again to ask him some questions, and then we created a friendship, and then all of this stuff, bad stuff, started happening in my life because I'm not just dealing with him, I'm dealing with the entity behind him. So, like, but what, sorry, my laundry just went off. The distractions, the nuance here is, okay, there's like this euphoric feeling in these containers that are false
Mm-hmm.
light.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're chasing a high,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Yeah.
can't access that high
Mm-hmm.
unless you're at that
There.
retreat or you're
Yes.
at that whatever. It's not integrated into real life.
Yes.
Now, when I say all these bad things happen, sometimes on each quantum leap, things that seem bad might happen, a quantum crumble. This needs to happen. So this is where the nuance is, like, okay, for example, like, went through a quantum leap, my business, had to set boundaries. It was like a shift of the type of clients that came in my world, right? It was like higher quality. Same thing with men. Um, it was like, okay, I was ready for dating again, and then I had some, like, I was dating somebody and then shifted some things, and then, like, higher quality men came into my life after that. It could seem bad of, like, oh, this didn't work out. That's not what I'm talking about. Or finances, incidentals happen, which is basically unexpected expenses right before a quantum leap. So this is where the nuance is. But it's the biggest thing is, like, oh, I need to go to this retreat
Yeah.
versus I
Yeah.
choose. And with a
Mm-hmm.
mentor, because I've made this mistake many times, and now I have amazing mentors. Yes, I have multiple mentors. I'm a crazy person like that. um it needs to be power to power. If there's any sort of I'm better, you need to
No,
rely on me for the
exactly. Yes.
answers, blah blah blah, that is a red flag. If it's power to power, now we all have blind spots. So
Of
I don't
course.
rely on my mentor. I was at one of them's house last night. I don't rely on her for me having information. Um, and Manouk, remind me, there's a vision I really want to say on this podcast. I think it's really important. I don't, it's about masculine and feminine. I don't rely on her for the answers, but she mirrors things to me. So us
She
coming
opens up
together,
that
yes,
idea, yes, and
yeah,
allows you to see it clearer, basically.
yes, and calls
Yeah.
me out on my shadow.
Yeah,
um,
because sometimes we're blind to our own shit. Sometimes it's
yes, I
harder
was
to
gonna
see.
say my own
Yeah.
shit, and then I said shadow. It's like,
Yeah.
anyways, whatever. I swear. So it's just a thing. So power to power, and then also, like, not like you want if you're working with a mentor, you want a mentor who has your best interest in mind and is going to call you out on things. You don't pay somebody
Hmm.
to, like, oh,
Yes.
you're so
To
amazing. It's like,
baby
yes, you're
you.
amazing, and yeah. And then the other thing here, oh, was really important. So the energy, if it's power to power, will get amplified. It's the same thing with a partner. If one person's energy gets drained, that is a red flag. The energy should amplify. Both people's lives should improve in all
Yeah.
areas, hopefully. So if you're like, okay, now all these bad things are happening in this area. I was talking to a girlfriend the other day, and she was like, when I started dating this dude a few years back, she was making multiple six figures. When she started dating this dude who, like, and she knew that it wasn't in full alignment, but she had to go through the lesson, as we all do in some
Yeah.
capacity. And so she's like, all of my finances literally like stopped and like slowed down, and like it almost came to like a complete halt for like over a year. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what happened to my ex and I had like a very high 5-figure month, like it, like more than I used to make in like 2 years combined, at like right before this relationship. And I was making like like it was like jumping, like it was, I minimum every month I was making 30K, and then it like had a huge jump, and then I dated this dude, and it was like I saw it on the graph, it was like whew, almost to fucking zero, and my
Yeah.
business was like 10K to run at the month. So I'm like, oh my god. um and what I realized, like, and then it just, it eventually we broke up, and then went through my grief portal, and then things shifted and turned around, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
he was like siphoning my energy and my life force, and like, again, there's these other entities that I'm consenting to my life, to my field, if I'm in a relationship of any sort, but specifically a romantic relationship. It's the deepest with him. So even when I got in contact with him again, what happened was within a day, my credit card, two of my credit cards, literally, this has never happened. I pay it off every single month. Like, they just stopped working. It was the weirdest thing. I had to go to the bank. My luggage got lost. A mentor that I had a session with that never messes up the time was like, oh, are you coming? It's like 11 a.m. And it was in the calendar for 3. And she's like, oh, like, she messed up the time. Um, some weird things happen on the back end.
And I'm curious though with that, like that's of course, but then going to because there's a big reflection going on there as well, right? With all of this happening, like this, like maybe like allowing this person back into your energy, allowing that, like opening up your energetic field to this stuff could obviously the
Putting
other
myself last.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like there's because that's I think what I would really love for everybody to understand, this all of this happening can also like all comes down to mainly reflections, right? So something that's being mirrored to you, but then it's working through these situations basically. So
Yes. It's,
so that's that's the interesting component of it. So if you can understand that, you understand a lot. You
yeah.
basically really figure out a lot of shit.
Exactly. They can only work through reflection.
Yeah.
So I wasn't putting myself first, obviously. I was allowing him back in my life. And that, but part of me was like, oh, like I miss this friendship and blah, blah, blah. And I did. But I was still basically self-sacrificing. And
Yeah.
so it was like this
And
big
so
mirror.
yeah.
And then my mentor was like, so now like, you're not just dealing with him, you're dealing with the entities behind him. And this is the same thing as like when we were, I mean, in a relationship. That was the biggest reflections. I mean, man, my soul was like, end this now. And for months, and then I would try and then get
Sucked back in
sucked
basically.
back in, and there was
Yeah.
all these like hooks, and he would like cry. It was a whole thing. And eventually it dissolved. But I got to a place where I was like, I'm not tolerating this anymore. And that was
That's
after I made
yeah.
that declaration. I am like, I'm devoted to love, I'm devoted to union, and him third. And then no distortion. Like, the power of your words, guys. The
Yeah.
power of prayer and the power of your words is everything. We command our reality into existence. Like, you can speak manifestations into existence. Example, I'm seeing Nicole in like a few weeks, and I was like, oh yeah, but I don't know for sure if I'm coming, and like, it kind of depends on my brother, because like, I'm going to Scottsdale after. She was like, oh, I'm driving to Phoenix. I'm like, what day? The
Yeah.
day. And I spoke that into existence with my mom the day before. I was like, I was like, dang, like, it'd be so cool if I had a car to just like drive. It's like so close, like, boom. But we can do
Yeah.
this with what we're willing to allow in our life. But we have to walk away from that which is not serving us. And that's the hard part, because your wounds will draw you to those situations, and then other things will, kind of come in.
Yeah,
It's like
there's so many things, laws at play that are like coming through my
so
brain
many.
right now because
It's
there's so
like,
many nuances to that again. Like yes, you can speak it into existence, but there are so many things that you need to not want it too much because then the law of opposing forces. Like there's so many things, but
yeah,
when you can figure all that shit out, you
a
have
lot of attachment.
so much power. You do.
You know
Like
what?
it's actually insane.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
funny. I was at a friend's the other day, and her brother was like, I was like, I gotta go, I'm teaching. And he's like, what are you teaching on? they're like very 3D. And I'm like, I was like, the laws of the universe. He's like, you know, the laws of the universe. I'm like, yeah, they're cosmic law. And he's like, well, what's one of them? I was like, well, the law of focus, like whatever you focus on expands, like whether it's
Yeah.
good or bad. And then he's like, what's another one? And I was like, the law of opposing forces. So if you really, really, really want something, has to really, really want, not want you pushed it away. So you have to be
Yeah.
unpassionate. It's like, those two things can't go together. I'm like, yes, they can. It's nuanced.
Yeah. It's
Focus,
literally, yeah.
and it's
But you can
there's so
focus
many.
on something but not want it. Like there, that's where that's
It's
where
like it's like not. And every single, it's even when my dog got stolen and I manifested him back, like obviously all my energy, it was so
I
traumatic.
would
It
have
was after
murdered that
death.
person. I shouldn't, but I would have.
They were trying to sell him. It was, again, the power of prayer.
That's
But
like a nightmare. Don't make that a preview for me,
Girl,
please.
I
I'm
thought, no,
denouncing
it's
this preview.
no, I got him back. So, and it was after a DJ retreat. So like, I didn't connect these dots until 5 years later. But what I had to do is I had to release the need to get him back. That was like the most traumatic day of my life.
Oh, that must be
I
so
said-
fucking hard. How did you do that?
Well, I imagine I used all the cosmic laws and like manifestations, like probably like my most, like my thing, like manifestation. Everyone used to call me the queen of manifestation. I felt him holographically here. Like I was using all the things, all the energy.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, I'm not saying this to brag because we all this power, but like I'm really good at manifesting because I have so much practice, because I put myself in situations where I didn't know where I was going to sleep at night, and I was traveling, and I left Canada, and there were so many things like where challenges that were so difficult that I had to like really connect with God and work with God to figure it out. Well, let God figure it out. But so, and this was one of them. And he, the last piece, and this is always the hardest, I said, and if he's better with them, let it be so. And I fell to the floor in grief. And 3 minutes later, they called the cops. We were working with them for like 5 hours. I mean, it was all filmed. It was like, this story is crazy. It's on my podcast years back. But
I can't.
but
My two babies, I would die.
I thought I was gonna die. I'm like, am I gonna commit suicide?
No, don't say that. No.
I mean, and my dog's soul is what saved my life in Egypt when I almost died. So that was a whole thing too, years later. But
they're little guardian angels.
He is an angel. So that, yeah, the not want, like not need, but still like desire. And
Christ's perspective, like that's what it is. It's seeing the perfection in it all. It's fucking hard, but yeah,
it's so hard. And like passionately, and it's like passionately intend and then be passionately detached.
Yeah, and I love this one way that I really loved, like a healing technique where you basically dissolve the want, so you become neutral from it, and you know this too because we were in the same course on this. You remove the want, and then you create a new path, so a different destination. So like, for example, because body is my thing, you want to lose weight, you remove the desire to lose weight, but you still take the action to exercise, but you exercise because you want to stay fitter for longer or younger, or become faster at running or something like that, or because 100%. You want to be able to pick up your children. So you basically create a new path to take the action, but you put a different goalpost at the end. But it's like something that you could take or leave, basically.
Yeah. And that's like the thing about manifestation is that it's never about, okay, the best part is like not the thing. It's like who you become in the process of that.
That's what it is. 100%. Yes.
Expands. That's our desires.
That's what I always say. I sometimes say this also to my clients. I'm like, okay, cool. You want the body? I give it to you now. What are you going to do? How's it going to make you feel?
Exactly.
Like, you want the money? You get it now. A lot of the time, it's not as satisfactory. You're just like, oh,
no, it's not.
Okay. Now I don't know what to do. Like,
and this stops so many people from manifesting money because they know unconsciously that when they get it, they're like, okay, nothing changed. And actually now my problems are just more amplified because money's an amplifier. But like, oh, something came through. It was super important. Yeah, that's it. It's who you become. So for you, like fitness, like who you become, the attributes you gain, the self-love that's created in pursuit
strength,
of the body,
the empowerment, the capabilities, the
Yeah.
I've been like traveling. I just got back and I'm like, I'm going to my gym class tomorrow and Thursday. And I'm like, I went like on last Thursday and I was like, oh, I just love this. It's because you're putting yourself first. You're learning self-love in the form of action as well,
Yes.
strength, all of this. Like
100%.
there is something about, I used to figure skate. It's not about like cool, the
And
medals
you
or whatever. It's the
no, and
pursuit. It's the
exactly. And you
overcoming
feel
of the
sexy
obstacles.
because
Yeah.
you're getting good at something that makes you feel strong and empowered, and like that's what unlocks that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you
For
just get the body now, it's not going to unlock that. It's just,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. And it's
yeah,
like the obstacles like are the path and it's who we
yeah,
become. And that builds self self honor. Like there's an honor in that. You know what I mean? And so I love that. Okay, wait, there's a vision I really want to talk about quick here. I know
yeah,
we've got
yeah.
okay,
I
so
know, but I had a feeling this was going to
okay.
happen.
I know. I was like,
My dog
I
is
have
there
a
just,
call in an hour and 25 minutes. I have a client, but um, so there was a vision that I've had it multiple times, and basically what I saw. This goes to the feminine, the masculine, and this also goes to all the things you teach on body image and why our self love, true self love, and why our self image is so important. And this has everything
it's
to do
literally the
with
key.
the world, where it's going, the rise of the divine feminine, the suppression of the feminine energy, and why. So basically, the vision was um these women, and one was like in real life, these women like dancing. Like we were in Egypt, and they had that culture is so suppressed, and the women, but then they would have these women dancers basically like naked just for the pleasure of the men.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to dance, and I wore sweats. I'm like, I'm not dancing. And I'm like, I looked like a grub. And I didn't even know I wore sweats until intuitively later. So, anyways, is a long story on that. But it made me so angry. I'm like, what is this? And then the vision came again. This was like the fourth time I've had it. And I've probably had it at least 8 times now. So the women were dancing, and they were dancing from a wound and a need for validation. So, like,
Yes.
look at me. Succubus energy
Social
working through
social media, by the way.
social
By the way.
media.
Just
I'm
putting that.
siphoning the energy of my
Yeah.
fans, of the men. Give me the
Mhm.
validation because I feel so unworthy. They don't
Yeah. I
know
feel
this is
only worthy
unconscious.
when I get that. Yeah.
Exactly. And like even when I was a server, I had to do this. Like it was like I didn't have to do it, but like they're like dress whenever I wore glasses, they would or like didn't do my makeup. Like if I went in like this, they would literally probably send me home. You had to be like
Yeah,
glammed
but
up.
it
This is
also
like
has to do with your own belief system about yourself, because if you like now grounded in your beauty and in your strength walk in, they probably
yeah.
wouldn't. You know what I mean?
I mean, yes, but they also have protocols around like
Yeah.
no
But I'm just
gold
saying, like,
lipstick and this.
on a, yeah, but like on
Yes.
a, yes,
Well,
reflective.
I wouldn't be a match to that anymore, which is why I
Yeah.
don't serve anymore.
Yeah.
But yes, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so um, but there was a piece of me. I was thinking about this the other day that loved it, that loved the attention of the men when I was serving in like a little black dress, that loved the attention when I was an actor and I was on set, and like there was a piece of me that needed that for me to feel safe and okay and whole, but it was from a wound. Thus, left acting when I healed enough of like my trauma, and was like, why am I doing this? And like I'm like it makes me feel shitty when I get an audition or
Yeah.
like because it was a double-edged sword. Sometimes it was like you need to like do your hair better and your makeup better for this audition, or you look, I had agents say you look like shit, but then also like there was validation when I did get the role, and like it was like
Mm-hmm.
double-edged sword. Same thing with the serving.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's that same energy. It works in multiple ways, but I just kept seeing in the form of dance. And dance is a powerful way to alchemize energy too, especially dancing in front of people. and allowing source energy to work through you, not dancing for them, but in front of them. It's a very different than dancing
Different
for
thing.
someone.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
So
yeah.
so subtle, but it's so important because this is the power of the feminine. If you're dancing for somebody else for attention, for validation, you don't have that
With
feminine
e-
magnetism.
yeah, it's different for everything, basically.
100%. You got to
Same
circle
thing
the
if you
energy.
do your makeup for someone else, it's different than if you do
If
it for yourself.
yes,
It's the same thing. If
yes,
you train for someone else, at literally everything, literally
literally.
everything. Yeah.
And so so what I saw was like this golden light, like source, God. When I say God, by the way, I'm saying
Source.
those words are interchangeable for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like God, creator, source, not demigods. Anyways, another topic. Um, so this golden light came through, and all the women, and the men were, and this works both ways, but this is just the vision I saw. The men were like siphoning the energy, and they were just like lying there, like so entitled and like weak, and like this is literally feminism. I'm probably gonna get shot up, but I don't care. This is literally feminism in like the the reason men have become weak is because of feminism.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
because we're giving our power away. I need to look good for a
Yeah.
man. I need to dance for men. I need validation from that man. Same thing with like just sleeping around for validation. It's the same wound. Or working out or needing the body for validation versus this is a vessel. This is my vessel to God,
We
to the
have
source.
so much power over all of it. We just don't realize that we do. That's the
We
thing. Like what we want the men to do, they will do. Like
literally. And so,
I'm
and
sorry,
men,
but that is what it is. We're just not seeing it. Like
because
I
we've
don't know.
cheapened our energy, we've cheapened, so we've given them
Yeah.
access, so because we need the validation. And so what happened in this vision after um was sorry, I just lost my train of thought, was this golden light came, and now the women all of a sudden started like their chins were up and they were dancing for, like allowing the divine to dance through them. And they weren't dancing, it was an energy shift. They weren't dancing for the men were still there, but the men had no access to their fields. And because as they were like being entitled and all of like weak and not initiated, and then they started to get so angry, the men, and the women just kept circulating the energy and dancing, allowing God to dance through them. And all of a sudden, one by one, the men rose, they stepped in, they got initiated, they rose into honoring the feminine, to devoting to, and men on a biological level, they want to be initiated. It's just that we've lost these rites of passages. Like in shamanic
And
culture and
yeah.
in indigenous culture, they go through rites of passages to carve them. It's the same thing with manifestation, into the version of them that's a match to the thing.
Yeah.
And so this is manifestation. You get carved into that version in the process, in the obstacles, who then gets the thing, but the thing isn't the greatest reward, it's the cherry on top. Same thing with men. Men want to reach the potentials too, but
Of
women
course.
are the ones who determine if they do or not. Like behind every great man is an even more powerful woman. Not that we're better or worse, but we're the ones
No,
who
because
hold
I
the
did want to
standard.
touch upon that because we're like there's a lot of stuff, but I also feel very deeply the need lately that men are being bashed so much nowadays, like to the
That,
point that I am like, guys, this is, but that's also to gain
that
more power because if we're
that's
disconnected, like,
that's this is so important. Okay, that's the wounded
yeah,
feminine. I podcast literally talking about that from a couple years back.
because
But
men, a good man is the container for the woman, like they're the protector. That is why source is a male
yes,
energy. Like,
I don't
yeah,
think source is the male energy. Personally, I think that's a distortion. I think it's a balance of the yin and yang of the masculine and feminine.
I think so too, but I
This
think how we view the energy.
it's
um
well, it's interesting because I used to say he as in God, but I don't think
mhm.
God's male or female. I think God is the balance of the yin and yang because everything is the balance of the yin and yang. Everything's
Yeah,
masculine and feminine.
but we are too.
Even
Yeah,
us. Yeah.
yeah, that's what
So
I'm
that's
saying.
my personal opinion. I've been sitting with this a lot recently, so it's
Yeah,
interesting you bring that up.
I was, it also got
Like
brought up to me, but that's
I
how I view it in that way. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like the
yeah,
protector
it's
guy,
the
like,
yes, the protector,
yeah.
but this is the exact distortion I was talking about earlier. The feminine was taken out of the Bible. Why? Mary Magdalene was and I'll tell you my perspective on why through my journey. Mary Magdalene was looked at as a slut. If you study the true Mary Magdalene codes, she was not a slut. She was in devotion to Yeshua, and she was in devotion to the mission, and he was in devotion to the mission, and together they came together and embodied the mission. She wasn't even in devotion to him. I actually just realized that. Thank you, Source. In this moment, the I'm devoted to him above my mission is a distortion. And this is something I've grappled with because I'm on this journey of calling to my true beloved or aligning to him. And I keep hearing God say you need to make your mission more important. And I had a massive soul integration recently where it was like, your mission needs to be number one, and your true beloved is actually a part of your mission.
Oh,
you're supposed to outlive together.
1000%.
And I was like,
that's part of that is part of the soul paso pull. I literally have someone also, someone we know who shouldn't be calling in that person yet because it's going to slow down her soul paso pull. So
and
it'll
that,
come when it needs to come.
Exactly, because it will sabotage it. And I did this in my relationship a few years ago. I put him ahead of my mission. And my soul felt like it was dying. It was like trapped. And it was. My soul was trying to be like, Jill, stop this. He's holding you back from the mission. And this is when I started getting a lot of I don't want to say a lot of exposure, but I was causing a lot of impact, and it became a threat. And so I was like, I've tracked all this. So my personal view, based on what I've channeled, what I've been through, what I've asked God, what I've prayed on, what has been information that has come through, that I've sifted through, made sure it was clear, intuitive information, not infiltration, is that in that vision, the feminine holds the power. God, creator, divine intelligence, source, I believe is both. And I believe the feminine was taken out. And here's why. Because the feminine holds the standards for society. I think the feminine holds the standards. Look at nature. There's the egg. The egg chooses. The egg knows what it tolerates, what it doesn't. There's billions of sperm. If every single woman knew the power of her energy, of her beauty, of her greatness on this planet, we would be living in the golden age.
We'd also create stronger men as a result of that.
Well, that's it. So the allowing God,
that's the thing.
So the translation of allowing that God, the source energy, and she was dancing for it, and they got angry at first because they were entitled, because we have made them entitled. We've made them lazy. We've made them be like, oh yeah, no problem, met you today.
And we're accessible everywhere now, right? It's not even a delicacy anymore almost to be with the woman.
That's it. It's become cheap. Our energy is the most, I would take my energy over $1 billion. If I'm literally sweating right now because so much is coming through. Over $1 billion, if it was oh, here's $1 billion, or you could keep the potency of your energy that you've cultivated, because again, you have to go through these death and rebirth portals to up level on a biological cellular level, as you know, and so frequency upgrades, etc. I would always take my energy because I already know what it can create, and it's more valuable than $1 billion.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's where dark energy comes into play when people get impatient.
Yes. Oh my God, we can have a whole other transmission on that. But we have held the standard. And so
I've literally had my partner tell that to me. It's like, you guys don't even know. You tell us to jump, we'll jump. He's like, exactly. Literally said this to me. You don't even know. You tell us what you want, we'll do it.
100%. And it's you don't even, here's the thing, Manu, we don't even need to tell them. That vision was a divine, I've tested this, man, was a divine, I'll give you an example, was a divine, intuitive picture that shows we didn't tell the men you have to rise.
No, it's your energy.
They held the standard. They're like, God's first, you're not first. For you to come in my field, you need to rise and honor the feminine and work with the feminine. And it was the rise of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And then the masculine rose, and that helped the feminine rise more. And it was this beautiful
That's why,
tapestry.
Again, that whole tying back into that whole, one is not above the other. we're both at that, we just need to be able to hold each other in that energy.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Exactly. And
So,
that's why I think God is both, and source is both, but we've been looking
and
through the
and
lens.
just to really quickly, I have to say this, and
Just say
I'm
it.
sure my
I'm
audience is
filtering.
starting to see where I'm at right now with what with what they're doing, with all of this stuff, with all the transgender,
Oh God.
sexual, all the gender bullshit crap, whatever. Do you see how when you start removing the normal, like the partnership that we're meant to have, masculine, feminine partnership, those energies going together, when we disconnect more from our gender and start transforming into God knows what, like a cat or a cow or a bush, like then it's going to be a lot harder to generate that power together, right? Because we don't even know who the fuck we are anymore. So what we're attracted to anymore. So that takes away, that's why, and they're normalizing it more and more and more in TV shows. And I
Intentionally.
can't with the
It's
agenda.
so
I can't.
It's so sick.
Yeah.
It's because our souls choose our body. It chooses every
Yes,
single thing. So if we
literally.
think, oh, I was, and I have so much compassion because I have a friend who's like going through, like, I feel like I was born in the wrong body, and like I'm like,
Like, no, your body
intuitively
was
I'm like,
chosen.
no, you chose your body. I
But
haven't said that to
everybody.
him, but
Yeah.
exactly. But here's the thing, like, if I think I'm it's even dying. So I had my natural hair for like 4 years, probably after COVID. I have highlights now, right? But it's from a different place. I
Yeah.
had to go through a process of like, I want highlights because like I want highlights. I don't need them. I had to naturally, and I did start naturally loving my natural hair color. And I was like, dang. Before that, I would dye my hair because I thought my hair was like, I didn't like the color and blah, blah, blah. And so it's like we can wear like makeup as an accessory because it like we desire to, versus like I'm not pretty enough without it. And so,
Exactly.
and here's the thing with the reflections and working through this, I went through last February, I went through this like crazy situation where I would like, it was like rashes, like under my eyes. Like I'm like,
Mhm.
because I was going through a deep self-love portal. And so Source basically made my body look in a way that my past self wouldn't have loved it. And I had to learn to love it in that version of it before the reflection dissolved. And but this is the basis of like all of your work on helping women with like their bodies and like all of this stuff is so beautiful, because this is the basis. If they can control us and make us think we're not good enough, we don't hold standards.
No.
And as we start to hold standards, and this also relates to the trauma, because it's the traumas that make us not feel good enough. You're not pretty, you're not whatever, you're XYZ. I mean, like, I have memories of figure skating teachers saying things like, all of this I had to work
I think
through.
all of us women know these feelings and these stories.
100%. And
It's all to get you to start rooting to your beauty, actually, in the end of it. But you
yeah,
don't see it then. And it's also all these limiting beliefs and now social media and literally what I was saying, the beauty industry feeding off of it so that we can disconnect more from our beauty, from our power. And the crazy thing is, the only reason your body is not quote unquote where you want it to be, or you're struggling with rashes or weight gain or bloating, which I have had because of my bodybuilding journey and all of that jazz,
yeah,
all of this shit, the only reason your body does that is because it's communicating an imbalance. So when
yes,
you can root to your
yeah,
beauty here and now and see your power in the here and now, your body will release whatever is not meant for you anymore. So that weight will release, the bloating will release,
yeah,
the skin rash, remember the breakout that we spoke. I remember you helping me with one
yes,
reflection from a breakout. The day after, it was gone. So,
yeah. Can
so
you talk about that for a second? They for my audience, I know what you mean, but can you explain what an imbalance is? Because I've never
so
used that specific word.
yeah, it's funny, right? You have your vocabulary.
I have my vocabulary.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why it's like it's good to explain because it's different. So the emotional imbalance would be something like you're not feeling worthy somewhere. So for example, well, let's talk about holding on to weight, right? If you're holding on to excess weight, that is your body responding to wanting to protect itself. So it's protecting itself
Yes.
from your own abuse, your own beating up. So you have to be beating yourself up somewhere in life. So for me, I was doing bodybuilding competitions, and I was super lean, low body fat percentage, muscle, everything. So I had an idea of what I was supposed to look like. The moment I stopped, I was still tracking my calories. I was still training, probably more than I was before. And I started gaining weight.
Yeah.
Why? Because I was beating myself up about how I was showing up, about how people viewed me, all of that jazz. So I was being hard on myself. So my body held on to weight, even though I was doing everything, quote unquote, right. Right.
Yeah.
Also, again, my body wanted me to dive deeper into the real true, like why I actually loved myself, not for my looks, but what my beauty was, right? And
Yeah.
then just a little side note for that, this imbalance doesn't need to exist where it's showing up. So if your body
Yes.
is holding on to weight and you're seeing like what you were saying, like rashes and things like that, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to do with an imbalance with how you view yourself. It could be an imbalance with how you view yourself financially or in a relationship or any area of life, in your family, how you're beating yourself up mentally. So it could be showing up in the body, even though you're feeling super confident in your body. It could still
Yes.
show up there. So an imbalance is basically just something that is not an area where you've decided to settle or for a little bit less.
Yes. Yes.
So
Slave
you want to,
code. I
yeah.
always
So
say settling's a slave code.
yeah. So if you decide, like, I like to use this example, like when you're a little girl and you wanted to become a princess, now you've settled for just being a ballerina because princess is
Oh
not going to
yeah.
make it anyways. You need to not let go of whatever you thought you were going to be. It can shift into something bigger and better. But the moment you're like, I guess this is okay, or you settle for a little bit less, or maybe this is just not meant for me, the moment you start cutting into your worth and settling for less in life is the moment you're going to start seeing imbalances in your body and your relationships,
Yeah.
literally everywhere.
And like you stop seeing your potential.
Yeah, and then yeah,
Like
exactly. You stop seeing how truly powerful you are. And
yeah,
I think 100% of us are struggling with that. That even like
100%.
us on our
100%.
journey, we're
Yeah.
growing constantly through it so that we can help you guys
Yeah.
achieve that even faster.
Yeah.
So, it's a constant thing, but when you hack that, you hack everything. So,
100%.
yeah.
And it's all here like yeah, we are so powerful and it's all here. Well, the challenges are here to help us see where we're not seeing our potential, where we're settling, where we're and like Manook said, like you could have like something in your face or like weight gain that is not actually to do with your body image. It could be like, oh, I'm settling for this abusive relationship and now this is appearing here. Or like finances tank because you're settling for um
Well,
like
yeah, that abusive relationship is that will could go hand in hand, right?
yeah,
Because you're beating yourself up, your partner, like sorry for the crude example, but could be beating
yeah,
you up, which is literally the physical
100%.
translation of what you're doing to yourself. So how bad it is
Exactly.
on the external with someone is how bad you're treating yourself.
From the inside out, we're living in an inside out
Yeah.
reality. And this
Yeah.
is where like so many people are like just trying to fix these problems and big pharma's making a bazillion dollars off of it. Um like even that industry that you were in, sorry, let me go back. They're trying to fix their
Yeah.
problems and from the outside in. We cannot fix our problems from the outside in. We have to come within, see what the communication is of the soul, what the lesson is, and shift that energy and that paradigm from the inside out. And then the
Yeah.
thing will just appear, and you're like, that was magic. But like,
It's not. It's
it's
just you
an
shifted
alchemical
your
process. Exactly. You shifted your mind, body, and soul. And I think all like we were talking about this earlier, they're all three important. You can't really like take one out because if your soul is trying to communicate something, you shift it in your body and your mind, and the soul is like, hey, no, it's a communication, then what's the soul lesson there? Then you're taking one out, just like the mind reprogramming. I'm like, that's so powerful. And if we don't shift the energy in the body, we're missing a piece of the puzzle. So they're all so important. I mean, you can shift it with just using one, you can shift anything. But if you want to shift it on a holistic level in the most powerful way, all aspects are important. And then, like,
yeah,
it's so,
that. Yeah. That also just really quickly with
Yeah.
when you're in the spiritual world, right?
Yeah.
Forgetting about the body doesn't work. You're a physical being, so you
Oh my
have
God.
to,
Oh my
you
God.
know what
The
I
amount
mean?
of like
Yeah.
gurus who I'm
Yeah, it
like,
doesn't
you,
work.
I'm like, you're firstly like, I wouldn't trust you. I don't like the word guru, so no, thank you. Secondly, I wouldn't trust you as like a coach or a mentor, or a teacher. You're not even taking care of your physical vessel. You're like
You need
obese.
it. You're
I'm
made like
sorry,
that.
but it's like our body is the bridge between the divine and the actualization on planet Earth. If we're not taking
Yeah.
care of our body, how is that not a red flag for people? But it is shocking how many spiritual leaders just are like, oh, transcend your body. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, we're
But
living on this planet, and this is
but
why.
let's even flip it, Jill. Like that's the crazy part. The crazy part is we're living on this physical world. We know there's energy, but we ignore it. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh
Like,
yeah. I mean
you
the
see?
the 3D people. Well, exactly. Let's take this because I want to talk about what you said. The bodybuilding example. You were like, I only know like 4 people who have ever done bodybuilding. 3 of them went through exactly what you went through. That's it. Like you were like not changing anything, but there was an imbalance because you had a view of yourself that wasn't in alignment with source's view with I am beautiful, I am perfect, I'm whole, I'm protected, I am chosen, I'm claimed, etc. Your view was birthed in a byproduct of what somebody told you or programmed into you, society programmed into you that you're not good enough, which is BS. And so, and then that instead you were doing all the physical things, but not looking at the energy.
Nope,
So in order to
exactly.
shift it, the physical things ain't doing it anymore. In order to shift it, you had to do the energy. I did a detox. I think I'm going to do another one next week actually. But this like gut liver detox. And the first time I did it, I had the worst. It was the worst detox because the things like wouldn't release, they wouldn't move through my body because I was just doing the physical aspect. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Jill, go to everything you know.
Yeah.
What in your life are you not releasing? What are you
Detoxing. Yes.
And I was like, oh,
It's so funny, right? It's so obvious, but then, and that was it. Like I was forcing my body through all of it. And the first time it worked because also I didn't have any expectation. So there you go, opposing a law of opposing forces. I didn't have an expectation. Second time
yeah,
around, I had an expectation. So I knew what I could achieve. Now the pressure was on and I was getting frustrated with why I wasn't achieving it. So, and also that's part of my soul plan, right?
yeah,
To to have being able, am I saying the sentence right? To being able to achieve that body, but then
yeah,
go through it again. And then because I didn't understand the energetic component and understand my body, it totally blocking. So
exactly. And then
yeah,
that's what brought you to greater understanding. So it was all
yeah,
perfect. But this
and
is where
brought me here.
challenges become like the golden nuggets. The
Literally, but
problem
they
is
are
the portal. I love that quote. The problem is the portal. Any issue in your life, which is not actually an issue, it's just your perception.
nothing. Yes,
Any
exactly.
quote perceived issue in your life is literally the portal to your next level, to your
Yeah.
potentials, to becoming and actualizing that potential. And this, can we just talk about a distortion in the spiritual community that I just literally can't stand? Of like, yes, we are all perfect and we are all whole. That's what we've been talking about. But they're like, just sit on the couch and eat potato chips
No,
or
but
eat broccoli.
that's what it is. Like sitting in an empty apartment,
And I'm
like
like,
manifesting your dream home. It's like that's how.
I'm like, I'm like, our soul stops growing in that. That's not fulfillment. Like, yes, we're whole and complete and all the things, but like, it's through the like
And
entrepreneurship is a path of the growth of the soul. Relationship is, money is, body image is, like achieving our best physical body, for example, as you were talking about, is a path of soul growth.
oh,
And
100%, because you also lock in beliefs through doing the action. Like
exactly,
otherwise,
exactly, that I am worthy, that I show up for myself. And then it's the same thing with like
and you're
money. Like
capable.
you're
Yeah.
100%. It's um, like money, for example. I love using that as a portal or entrepreneurship because people are like, "Hey, cool, I wanted this thing," and then it's like time to launch, and they're like, "Oh, but no, I need to figure out all the thing." And I'm like, "No, you need to just tell your story, and you need
Yeah.
to offer." And I'm like, the reason you aren't is because you're looking for external validation, and I get it. But in order, you have to alchemize this through the process of the launch.
You just
You
got to
will go
do it.
through it and
Yeah,
give birth,
you
and you will face rejection, even though it's not rejection.
yeah,
This happens,
exactly.
and then you'll figure it out, and the right clients will come, and whoa, what a growth journey. Every launch is such a growth journey, but we grow through the process. And I think people are afraid of
Exactly.
it because they have to shift their paradigm of self in the process and go through like an ego death of like the belief that they weren't good enough or whatever, or that they're not worthy. That has to die in order for in order, it'll die in the
To
process.
move on to the next level, you can't take it with you.
You
That's what
can't
it
take
is.
it with
You
you.
can't take it with you.
So it'll blow up
So,
in your face, and
yeah.
it'll be everywhere, because your higher self is like, just like that secrecy thing. I'm like, okay, gotta figure this out with
Yeah,
my
it's gonna
narcissistic
come up
brain. Just
everywhere until you finish.
I'm like, so it's just like blowing up, and I'm like, huh. Well,
Maybe I have to do something about
look
this.
at. Let's dig a little deeper and dig a little deeper and deep. Oh, found it. Boom. Okay, now I got the
Yeah.
code. Now we'll shift it. Now we'll do the uncomfortable work,
Yeah.
and then it's done. But it's like, this is where I was like so hesitant at the beginning to be like, with those like falsely containers, that all this like bad stuff happened. A lot of like, there was like some good stuff that happened, but it was trickery good. It was like, um, it was like
To keep you in, right? Kind
to
of.
keep you in. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
To
I
keep
get this
you
high,
excited,
right?
like
This
candies.
win.
Like,
I
oh,
oh,
look, I got a
yeah.
candy.
I manifested this man, except that then God real humbled me. It's like, oh, but that wasn't actually my person. However, I had to go through all of it. So
Yeah,
when
because then you learn again. Yeah.
yes, exactly. So I want people to understand this difference. When I was like trying to limit this at the beginning, my mind's working better now. Um, that it was like what Manuk and I are talking about here is there this portal of growth, right? So on creating a manifestation, whether it's your physical dream body, whether it's an amount of money, whether it is a beloved, which is more complex because now it's two souls at play, and anyways, whatever it is, whether it's a soul aligned business, whether it's the freedom to travel wherever you want, whenever you want. I love that one.
I want that.
Literally my living reality, that like, I cannot believe I've created this reality, because like 8 years ago I was like, that I can't travel. Like, I was sitting on that couch and I was like,
But
I
it's also a
can't travel.
perception thing because
It's all perception.
yeah, it's
I'm like,
all
the more I
freaking
travel, the more money
perception.
I make. Cool.
Yeah.
Rewrote the beliefs. I mean, I did. It wasn't just like, oh, sunshine and butterflies. So you'll face your deepest fears on it, and you'll realize that those are actually not things to be afraid of. Like taxes, that's one. Oh my God, I had so many fears about taxes. Being on the call with like my CFO and my accountant, like I'm like having an anxiety attack. They're like, taxes are safe. Say I love money.
I
Money
love
loves me. And I'm like bawling my eyes out. And now I'm like so neutral about it. And I'm like, well, sure, I can pay more taxes, and I can also find unique legal ways to, reallocate money that get yourself a good CFO and a good accountant. I have one. If anyone needs one, DM me. She's amazing. It took me a while to find her, but she's amazing. But that holds so many people back. They're like consciously, I want more money, but then their body like is like, somatics, I can't have money because then I have to pay more taxes, or I'm a bad person. Well, you
Yeah.
gotta rewire that so that you can open your field to that. But it's all just evolution. It's never about the thing. Like, it's literally, there's been like things in my life that I've created that I'm like, that is legit a miracle. My mom texted me right before this. She just got back from traveling, and we're going on a horseback riding trip in Argentina with my favorite actress, and like manifesting this was like, whoa, I had to look at the imprints where I thought I wasn't wanted. And so I would get these invites, but they weren't full invites, which was related to things when I was younger that I had to like rewrite those memories of. But I'm like, the coolest part is like, that I get to take this amazing trip with my mom, and it's like literally my childhood dream. And I had shifted my relationship with my mom because it was not in a good place a while back. And now we have such a beautiful relationship. And I'm like, the coolest thing is like who I became in that journey. Like, I became a way
Exactly.
better
But that's
daughter. I
yeah.
became knowing my own power, because then this manifested, but then they actually were like, just kidding, your mom had cancer several years ago. She healed naturally, actually.
That's amazing.
Yeah, with a past mentor of mine, like so amazing. And she's, even that journey, I'm gonna get maybe shot by some people, but it's fine. She looks like 25 years younger. People thought she was my sister at a couple years ago. I'm like, She's like
That's
almost 70.
crazy.
She looks so much younger. She's so much more happy because there were soul lessons in that journey for her. So we have to look at this as a source perspective of like everything is good and bad. Everything's neutral. There's no like that's bad, that's
No,
good.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
it's like, so it's like who we become in the process, who she became in the process, who I became. I remembered like who the power that I have, the divinity that I have in working in co-creation with God. I had to heal aspects of my relationship with my mom in order to manifest that. It's never about the manifestation. The manifestation is going to be amazing and beautiful and cool, and I'm so excited. And it's a childhood dream on so many levels, but it was like so many challenges actually allowing this to come to fruition.
And
And
that's
in the
the bonus. The manifestation at the end of the day is the bonus.
exactly,
Yes.
it's like the
That's what I always
relationship.
say with the body. When you achieve it, it's going to be the
Yeah,
bonus. You know,
yeah.
when you get what
'Cause-
you want, it's going to be the bonus.
and
It, yeah.
when we understand this, we get that like it's the need a need goes
Yeah, but
away, which is a
that's
part of
what you need to
manifestation.
get rid of. The need, you need to get rid of the need because that's what's blocking you. That is what's
Yes,
blocking you.
yes,
Jill, I am
100%.
this
Okay.
timer is gonna go off in a second because we're recording on
Oh my god.
Riverside. It
Okay.
has a timer of 2 hours. We're nearly there.
Okay.
So
I cannot believe this.
let's just last closing notes to finish it off. Um, so last thing that you want to say before we finish off this podcast, and then I'm gonna make sure that we put all the information in the show notes and
Yes.
you two on your side. And
Yes. You
I
send me
mean,
your.
we could go on for four
We could go
hours.
on for like way more, like nonstop. It's bonkers. Um, and I didn't think I had the capacity to show up today, but I did. This is the beginning.
Look,
Where do we bail on ourselves? It's 111, by the way, as you said that, and I'm like synchronicity. In the
oh yeah,
numbers.
2211 here.
Love it. The last thing is just, yeah, if you take anything from this podcast, well, I hope you take a lot, but that
We listen for sure.
our remembering our power and our divinity and the power of the feminine and masculine coming together in co-creation, and that the feminine holds the standards, not even just with male and female, but the feminine within a man will hold standards for him, his life as well. Um, and that there's so many structures and systems and programming that are trying to keep you entrapped, whether like you're giving your power away to money or a relationship or your beauty or your self-image or whatever, your health, whatever it is. Like you have the ability to call that power back, to shift
Yeah.
your perception of self, remember your divinity, and that is the path to your potentials. And like it's who you become on the journey, because like Manuk said, we're on the journey too. Maybe we've had more experience on
Yeah.
the journey, face more reflections,
We
and
just have
learn
better
through that.
tools now. Also, that's the
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, okay, when you can realize like it's all kind of like a game and it's all here for our soul growth and our soul evolution, that, and it's all beautiful, that okay, now you get to play the game, and you'll need tools and different tools at different times and different guidance at different times. Follow the pull. The soul pull is subtle. It's not the that we're talking about. I need to be a
No,
thyroid
it's not
change, but
the
it's like,
deprived. Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
And I think sometimes more high conscious beings, I've had this conversation with a lot of people, it can be harder to build, it can be slower to build a sustainable business brick by brick in a high conscious way, because we're not using these intense manipulative hooks. So
Yeah.
people need to feel the call and listen to that, and it's settle, versus their fears being like, oh, I need to do that thing, or their traumas being pulled to them. And so whether it's in relationship, coach it, mentor, teacher, guide, intuitive, this, listen to the subtle pull, the subtle knowing, because every time I've worked with a mentor or a teacher or a coach that's been a subtle pull, I'm like, oh, this is a soul contract. This is, they were meant to help me,
Hmm.
and guide me. And same thing for my clients. And every time that I listen to that intense pull, it's like, oh, that was a trauma bond. That was my wound. That was a lesson. It's not bad. I've learned many, many,
No,
many, many lessons,
nothing.
but
No,
it's
exactly.
just, that's the nuance that I hope you take. And yeah, and I have a free masterclass on Soul Speaks, literally about how our soul speaks through our body, through our finances, through how everything's working for us. I'll put that in the show notes as well. It's on the 29th, and I'm doing it from Sedona, which is literally where I studied
Love
shamanism.
that.
The weirdest synchronicities happen to get, you can't make this stuff up. Anyways,
No.
so that's fun. So those are the last things. Okay.
Last thing. So yes.
I just wanted to add on to that 100%. And you added in very nicely the whole soul contract thing. We have to remember that you have to trust. And when you start trusting, you have soul contracts with people. So whether you be starting a business, you have soul contracts with your clients. So they are meant to find you. You have soul contract with the person that you're meant to be with. They are meant to be with you. You just need to have your energy ready and open to receive that and trust that it's going to be. So yes, 100%. And you have the power to shift all of that. Yes,
Okay.
Jill.
There's one last thing. Thank you for saying that. You triggered something. It is your job as a human to actually walk the path. Just because you have a soul contract with clients, if you're not offering, if you're not telling your story, if you're not following the nuggets, the puzzle pieces, and in my experience, they come one by one. Sources like, here's a piece here. Everyone wants the whole map. Well, you're not going to get that. You need to take the action, the intuitive guidance action. It's like a puzzle piece. Otherwise, what if Source threw the whole puzzle at you and you're like,
You wouldn't know. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
one by one by one. And so yes, we have a soul contract with, well, all of our, if we're meant to have more than, like, go through more than one relationship in this life, I definitely have been through more than one, and I hope my next one's my true beloved, but who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Maybe there's another 10 lessons I need to learn before, and maybe I can learn them with him. I don't know. But here's the point. If we're not doing the work to walk the path, and if we're not walking the path, and if we're not, like, say you're meant to take a course or a training to have tools, or you're meant to work with whoever you feel or you're meant to work with, or I'm like Sedona. I'm going to Sedona. Source is guiding me back to Sedona in the craziest, weirdest, synchronistic ways. I channeled that from Source. So I was dealing with all these not like all these things lining up, and then this one thing didn't, and I'm like, why? And so I meditated and I connected to Source, and Source was like, or it was actually my higher self, let's be honest, which are different but nuanced. Go to Sedona. You're supposed to go to Sedona and broadcast this masterclass that you channeled 3 months ago, but I knew I wasn't supposed to launch it yet. And then it was, and then now I'm supposed to launch it from Sedona, which is so synchronistic. It's a place that I literally lived when I lived there for my shamanic training. And I was like, wow, this is so crazy. And so you never know how the puzzle pieces are going to connect. Like, even when I told the story of healing my eye, somebody saw, I didn't know why I told that. It was right before I launched a course. I didn't tell the story to launch the course. I told the story because my soul told me to tell the story. I was mortified. I was shaking. I'm like, people think I'm bonkers, but it's true. And then I helped somebody else heal her eye who joined that course, which wasn't even on healing. It was on manifestation. She joined that course and healed. She was going blind and healed her eye. Like, that story is literally my podcast. These are soul contracts, but if you're listening to society or other people who don't understand this, you're probably not it's gonna hold you back. And you have to actually take the 3D steps to.
Okay, we got 10 seconds, girl, because it's gonna end. It's gonna close off. Yes, 100%. I also am gonna do a webinar on this tomorrow. I don't know if the podcast will be released by then. I don't think so. But we will be talking about this. At physical and energetic need to be in balance. Jill, thank you so much for being here. And are we still recording? It's still recording. Okay, I have no idea how this is gonna work.
2 hours.
There's a time limit, so it should be ending. But yeah, if it's still recording, we're good. But Jill, I'm going to wrap this up because I don't know when this is going to end, and I don't want to miss any nuggets of information and any of that. So thank you so much. We should definitely continue this conversation because there's lots to talk about. And I do. We both have amazing free resources to dive into deeper stuff. If you want to have a deeper understanding of dark energies, me and Jill both have resources on that. I do free webinars every 2 weeks. Sorry. So this week's topic is actually about the physical and the energetic and how they need to
love it
work together. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Send me that so I can link it in mine as well. I know you're doing it.
Perfect.
Send me the replay or whatever if there's a replay link.
Yes. There it's because if you join the membership, you have a week to watch the replay. So the free when you join the free membership, you have a week to watch the replay. After that, it gets moved to the pro membership.
Okay.
So that's how and then every other week we do a different podcast webinar. Wow, my brain.
Me too.
Podcast
Send me
webinar.
Both of those, the paid one and then the free one. And
I will.
you send whatever links you want. I'll add the webinar situation into it.
Yes, and you send me your links and then we'll
Okay.
figure it out from there.
Okay.
All right, Jill, thank you so much for your time. We could talk for another
Thank you.
5 hours, I'm sure.
Literally.
I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and I hope to see you in the next episode. I'm going to.
Yes. Thank
Yes.
you, Luke.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to You Can Call Me Goddess. I am so happy that you joined us in this show today. If you feel like this podcast gave you any sort of life change or value, then share it with someone you think would also get a lot of value out of it, because maybe it could just be that one thing that changes that person's life. If you enjoyed the show, please give it a nice rating below or in the show, because we would love to expand more on topics that you enjoy and keep this podcast up and running. Anyways, thank you, beautiful, and I hope to see you in the next podcast.